All right, so in this question, we've been given the above expression, and it says that it can be written as this one, where k is a positive constant. We are required to find the value of k, right? So you look at this, and you try to find how these two are related. What you can notice on first look is there's a clue, right? This pair here points us to the difference of two squared numbers, right? So the difference of two squares is like this: a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b multiplied by a minus b. Try and know this rule before the exam. You don't have to memorize it, but it comes in some questions in different forms, and then you have to remember to apply this to solve such questions. All right, so this question have a couple of moving parts. We see our 1/3, which is here, right? And we want to try and write this to look something like this, right? So let's start. We have 1/3 x squared minus 2. That's what we've been given, right? And in this one here, we notice that the 1/3 is now multiplying everything that we have in the brackets, right? So what we have to do is try and bring out the 1/3, just like you factoring it out, right? If you're doing that, you need to accommodate the fact that 1/3 is now being brought out. It's already associated with x squared, so no issues there. But the 1/3, according to this, is not associated with the 2. So if we bring it out, we need to accommodate for the 1/3 by multiplying the 2 by what? 3, right? And just like I always say, if you know factorization, you should also know distribution, because it should be reversible, which means if I reverse this by distributing the 1/3 over, it should cancel out the 3, which is currently here, and then we're going to end up with the original equation. So now that we have this, right, we're going to say this is the same as 1/3 x squared minus 6, right? Now the question is, how can we transform this equation here to look like this expression? Let me write it here so it's clear. So we have x minus k, x plus k, right? We want to write this top one so it looks like this. That's the only way we can compare the two expressions, right? So first of all, I mentioned about the difference of two squares, right? Which we have a clue about that over here. So this is what we do. So I bring this down here, and I'm going to try and transform the 6 so that I can introduce the square. How can I do that? So I will just say 1/3 x squared minus 6. Now instead of the 6, I will just say square root of 6 all squared, right? Because if I do this, this whole thing is equal to 6, right? And I did this just to be able to introduce the square in this so that I'll end up with 1/3. Now, according to the formula here, it's going to be x plus square root of 6, and then x minus square root of 6, right? So if you look at the two expressions, this here and this here are now similar. right? Don't worry about where the minus term is, because these are two multiplying factors, so you can switch them around. So in effect, our value k, when we compare the two, is going to be what? Square root of 6, right? So D is our answer, right? So difference of two squares, I can't repeat it enough. You must know it, right? They will not ask you questions directly to, write something with difference of two, but they will ask you to apply it, right? Somehow. But you have to know that it's related to the difference of two squares. All right? Okay.